Nanette, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. So excited to be here tonight and looking forward to sharing and hearing your questions and sharing a little bit about what we are putting forward starting March 19th for our second round of the High Vibe Mastery Program. I am Nanette Saylor, for those of you who don't know me. I Hattie and I have an interesting history and connection that we both are Cornell grads, a few years separated. And we first met through that many, many years ago. And in recent years have gotten connected through reconnected or connected, I guess. Um, uh, I'm not even sure what the word is. Anyway, through uh, vibration frequency 432. And as it happens in the fall last year, as we were prepping for the 11/11 event, which is a signature annual event for frequency 432, vibration 432, we, as that evolved, we said, it would be fun to do a 12/12 event around the high vibe energy cards. And so how I come to this space is that I am a creativity coach. I am certified as an intentional creativity teacher. You'll see the acrylic paintings behind me. It's a modality that I also facilitate, and I'm also a Women Unleashed guide. I have a graduate certificate in healing with the arts, and it has been my, let me call it, life journey in recent years to give a lot of personal attention to the practice of visualization and what it looks like to adopt a daily practice of shifting with an intention to shift old patterns. And so that has been the thing that I have given attention to in my personal life and in my practice as a coach and in my practice as a facilitator and a guide, to support people to step into whatever it is that they choose as a regular practice of affirming all is well, and I am whole and complete exactly as I am. And so that's what I bring to this experience. And that's how Hattie and I connected with her development of the high energy, high vibe mastery cards, high vibe energy cards, I guess. And yeah, so super excited that you guys are here to learn a little bit about what we have going on. We had a very vibrant and exciting group that met in December. And as a result, we really did not begin our December program with an intention to repeat it. And it was so well received that we couldn't not repeat it, right? So anyway, here we are. Thank you, Hattie.
But Lana, welcome to the call. We only see your name, so if you have access to the camera, or maybe you want to be incognito, so welcome. I would put a footnote on Nanette. Nanette she definitely brings the whole creativity piece to her. She was a hotel executive. And funny story is her father was a doctor, and she didn't want to have a job that was as demanding as a doctor's.
So I became a hotel manager. Yeah.
Hotels are open 24/7, and so
Yeah.
she had a 24/7 job.
That
And
didn't make any sense, but when we're teenagers, what do we know?
so anyway, but she has all that corporate get the job done. So one of the things that she was just marvelous with, I mean, it's the first time we worked together, and it was a delight working together. And it was a delight because I'm not an attention to detail person. And she made sure that everything got recorded and got posted, and that there was a book that went with that showed the activity of the day and all of that. And if it had been me, I would have been winging it at the last minute, sort of
Well,
things.
and the truth is that it left to my own devices, I would be winging it too. So Hattie and I are a great pair because however it is, and Hattie, you can speak to our astrological pairing, but however it is, we support each other really well, and it brings out my ability to put things in order when honestly left to my own devices in my natural state, untrained as a manager. I would perfectly willingly just wing it as well. So, but as a result, we together came up with a really um, comprehensive program that has two thorough guidebooks with it. One that is how we're going to move through the 12 days of the experience of tapping in every day to your wishes, hopes, and dreams. And then the second, which is Hattie's explanation and the discovery and all of the components that go along with understanding what went into making the cards, the Hattie help me, vibe 30 432 energy cards, right? That's what they're called.
But you see them in front of my face,
Yeah.
so we'll
Yes.
talk
Yes.
about them.
So the Hattie has developed this wonderful deck of cards that give us an opportunity to check in with our energy every day, and then to be delighted and inspired by the messaging that we receive. And so the combination of our two fields of expertise and the energetic of the combination, I think is really, really magical. So yeah.
And we didn't invite you to come to a mutual admiration society.
Yes.
But the whole idea, part of the reason why I'm talking about it, is that the intention is to have it be a net that everybody who joins the class becomes part and parcel of this, that we are creating a, a to make it a bigger basket so more people can,
Yes.
so more kiddies can come to the
Yeah. Yeah. Because at the end of the
snuggle in.
day, both of us believe it's a co-creative world, right? We are existing in a co-creative universe. And every person who comes to be a part of this program contributes something that supports the greater good, supports the greater whole. And that is my absolute firm belief. And I know it is Hattie's as well. We all are called here for a reason, right? We didn't show up here randomly. We showed up here because something indicated to us that this is where we needed to be today for whatever reason. And I want to honor that for all of you and appreciate that your contribution matters, right? And that's how we see this moving forward. So thank you for being here.
And so I wanted to answer, this was for you to ask questions, but there's some content that I know probably needs to be answered before. Nanette was talking about vibration 432. I know Lisa knows what vibration 432. I don't think Deborah does, and Svetlana.
Hello. I'm I don't know how to turn on the camera because I've been on a Zoom long time ago. I'm not trying to be incognito.
No worries, Svetlana. All is
I
well.
I don't know. I'm pressing where it's supposed to be, and all I see is myself and you all disappearing at the same time.
Okay. Well, don't make yourself uncomfortable about it. We
Okay.
welcome you just as you are.
Svetlana, are you familiar with vibration 432? Does that
Well,
mean?
I'm not familiar. With none of that. I just
You're
just
on Jill's mailing list, right?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah.
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 Well,
Yeah.
here I'm going to hold up a card that says Vibe 432. It's a little harder to see at the top. It says Vibration 432. And so when we are referring to Jill, Jill is an accountant, and she is an accountant who really would rather be a holistic healer. And that was always her image, but she grew up in a family, her father's an accountant, and it's a family accounting business. But
Mm.
she has a fiance who was a firefighter. He's a nurse. He was a nurse and a firefighter, and he was on the Trauma Hawk helicopter, seeing trauma after trauma after trauma. And it's probably not surprising. I mean, I'm not sure he would tell his story that way, but it's not surprising that at some point PTSD would raise its ugly head in his life.
Yeah.
And she has, as an accountant, has dealt with several firefighters who have left. What happens to a firefighter when they have to be out on PTSD? They have 18 months to get it together, and they can come back if they're deemed ready to come back. If not, they are forced into retirement. And so she is a very compassionate person, and her goal is to raise funds to be able to help support people with PTSD getting services that will not be paid for by insurance companies.
Right.
So, for example, I'm an aura image reader and an astrologer, and it's probably going to be a cold day in hell when before an astrology chart gets funded by an,
Insurance.
an insurance
Yeah.
company. And that's just one example. They've also, she's attracting a group of healers. Am I saying it's Svetiana? Is that how to say your name? Yeah. So anyway, Vibration 432 is the name of the nonprofit that she founded in order, and Vibration 432 is a sound. It's Vibration 432 hertz is a sound, and it is the sound of Om. It's the sound of love. It's the sound of healing. Literally, Harvard Medical School did a study where they played that sound over cancer cells in a petri dish, and the cells healed. And so that's the Vibration 432. And Vibe 432, actually, I have the form. I have done 2 printing, and this one says master your mind under it. The latest printing has exactly what we were referring to when talking to Nanette, that it says vibe energy cards. And everyone who joins the class, I send out an envelope to you right away. When you register, you need to give us your address, and it's not because we're selling your information. It's so I can put in the mail a set of cards to you. We do collective reading on the call, but it gives you a chance to have direct experience with them. And primarily so far, they've been used with people, ordinary, everyday walking around people who are not kicked out of their career, that they always wanted to be a fireman when they grew up, and now they have to figure out something new. I have not worked with the cards with that population yet, but we have worked quite successfully with, I mean, I don't know about you, but I venture to say we all have a fair amount of stress in our life, and so a stress
Yeah,
management
it's
tool.
interesting. I just completed a course over the last 5 days that was an extension of my intentional creativity painting process. And this included a doctor of psychiatry from the Harvard Medical School, and then also Dr. Alyssa Rankin, who some of you may know. She's a Hay House author. And the program was focused on trauma-inspired healing, self-healing, and in particular for people who their illnesses are the result of trauma. And interesting that we talked a lot about in the class about trauma with a big T being the ones that we can speak to, like the firefighter who has witnessed everyday issues, having been the person responding on the trauma hawk, and trauma with a little t, which might be I just lived through a hurricane versus my house got blown away, or I've had some shocking experience in my life. So it's interesting to note that even though we haven't field tested these cards with trauma with the big T audiences yet, we certainly have field tested the cards with trauma with the little t audiences, because it's my personal belief that all of us have at some point experienced some shocking thing that rocked our world, right? And how that influences us moving forward is something to take note of. So anyway, and what we also have come to understand, and what we hope that this program would support everyone who participates in, is to really give attention to what it is that you wish and you hope and you dream will be your experience for a fulfilled and joyful life, right? And the cards and the practice of using the cards affirms for us positive messaging around those things. And so what we intend to do over the 12 days that you're with us in the program is, one, give you an opportunity to really think through, if you haven't already. When we did it back in December, people were thinking in terms of, okay, what do I want for 2024? Excuse me, which is a really common, right? At the beginning of the year, it's very common for us to be thinking in those terms. Now that we're coming around to spring, and we're launching this again on the spring equinox for a reason. It's the renewal time. It's the new birth time, right? And so even if at the beginning of the year we had some stated intentions, those things might have morphed a little bit by the time we get to spring, or maybe they haven't morphed at all. We just took our eye off the ball for a while. We haven't given it our full attention, and it's time to get back to or renew our commitment to these things that we say we want. And so there's a practice associated with the daily reading of the cards that helps us to affirm that we're giving this our attention. And that, and the whole idea of practicing, as I started with my introduction, the whole idea of practicing for me is a really important piece of how it is we move forward in our lives to release ourselves from whatever it is that's holding us back, which may be associated with some trauma we've had, and step into acknowledging that we have the capacity to co-create our lives in a way that we choose it to be. So I get super excited about the cards because they have this magical way of highlighting what it is that either is the thing that's going to lift me up for the day, or is the thing that I know I need to give attention to.
So one of the ways when we start, we have a hour-long on the spring equinox evening part of this program, and then it's every morning at 8:30 to 9. And we start by putting a hand over the heart. And we didn't start today with putting a hand over the heart.
Thank you, Hattie. Let's do that.
And let's join our energy of all of us together by putting a hand over a heart and taking a nice, let's take nice 3 breaths in, and 3 long breaths in and equally long breaths out. Changes the energy.
Yes, it absolutely does. Gives us such an opportunity to acknowledge our congruence, right? Both within our bodies and within the collective. So thank you, Hattie.
And now if you have questions, shoot your questions. We have a little activity that we can do, but if we've inspired, I mean, because this was a Q&A program.
Yes. So we're a small group. So just unmute yourself and go ahead and ask your question. And or if you don't want to speak it or are unable to speak it, you certainly can go ahead and put something in the chat, and I'll monitor that also.
Since we are such a small group, can you hear me?
Yes.
Wouldn't it be nice to just get together as a group? Wouldn't that be more energetic for the group to be synergistic?
I don't understand. You were talking about having a live program.
You want to do an introduction?
No, not an introduction. I mean, instead of Zooming this, wouldn't it make more sense to be together in one room where you had the energy of the field of everybody together?
Well, the only the thing was, when we came up with 12/12, it was 12 days of Christmas. I mean, it also echoed the 12 days of Christmas. And at 8:30 in the morning, I mean, we have
for 12 straight days.
For 12 straight days, it was, most of the people had jobs that we were communicating with people as they were driving to work, or
Sure. And we do have participation. We do have participants who come from other areas. So the intention, although I absolutely, Deborah, appreciate and I'm a huge supporter of us coming together in person because of the energetic connection. We do have participants who come from other parts of the globe, and we want to keep this opportunity available for people doing that. Now, within the vibration 432 community and the frequency 432 community, there are opportunities to connect in person that are separate from this particular program.
Thank
And
you.
Lisa's involved with that program, so.
Deborah, are you in South Florida?
Yes, I'm in Delray Beach.
Okay.
She's a near neighbor of mine.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay. So
Thank
there is,
you.
I think Jill just sent out an invitation about a social that's coming up at the end of March. So, yeah, we can be sure to make, to get you that information. And I know Hattie and I will likely do something in person at
into,
some point in the
they
future.
don't see me.
Oh, I see.
Can I help you? If you go on the view by the clock in the corner on the right-hand side, if you go to the view and you click that view button and you bring it down, it shows hide self, show self, exit full
A clock, I
screen.
don't even see the clock.
On
Oh,
the top of
okay.
your screen.
Is this,
And if you put your mouse over it, you'll see a view up
how do I
there.
start my video? Stop.
Oh. No.
So I will introduce, Lisa had I'll begin to introduce her and then she can add if she wants to. I was at a meeting with her the other day and she told me that she had a throat operation and her voice is not strong. Lisa, what I do know about Lisa is that she teaches piano and she has a healing technique that has grown out of her piano teaching, and I certainly don't understand that well enough that I could explain it, and maybe she can give us a couple of words to, and you also do teach, do you do substitute teaching in schools? Is that what, or are you a music teacher in schools?
So I'm a music teacher,
Mhm.
as loud as I can speak. Sorry. I teach piano, but I also perform and I play music, and I play piano and chimes and rain stick. And every weekend I do healing, 2-hour healing sessions.
I think so, I don't know.
I'm for free right now. So I've just had my 37th
There's a says start.
performance.
Nice.
And so my purpose for doing this is playing for people who are not able to get out and about, for people that might not be well, and even for people that are well. It's really very meditational music that I play, very healing. And so I play from my heart. I don't have anything memorized. I play according to energy. So even when I go to a venue and I play by feeling the energy from the audience, and I play for what my audience needs.
Beautiful.
And so I do that. I'm also an author, and I've worked in the acting world, and I'm also on the advisory board for Florida, for FIU, Florida International University.
Beautiful.
Very nice.
So I do a lot of different things, but my biggest thing is teaching piano and playing, and doing more of that, doing more performances, and that's really where I'm going towards.
Well, it's so perfectly aligned with vibration 432, right? The idea that sound is healing, right? Vibrations heal, that we know for sure. And so thank you for sharing that. It appears we can see Svetlana now.
No, yes,
But
Yeah.
because Yeah, it was just again because each device has a different hidden links where you not see it right away. So
Would
then
you
I
like
just
to
tap it and
introduce
then I came in.
yourself?
But I pronounced your name wrong, right? Tell us how
That's
you,
okay. That's okay. I mean, not everybody get it right away.
but
That's
how
all right.
do you pronounce your name?
Svetlana.
Oh,
Svetlana.
Svetlana. Okay.
Yeah, it's Russian. Yeah, so I'm from Russia originally. I lived in the United States almost 30 years. I live here in North Palm Beach, close to Juneau.
Ah,
But I've been most of my life in Florida, actually, most of my life in Florida, yeah. So yeah, it was a very interesting in my own self-awareness. That's how it started long before COVID, I would say, because I was always in the yoga for 15 years. But it even though I was very athletic all my life, it just yoga seems like it never had chance to open me up. I would still have unfinished business, let's just say,
mhm.
and so and I keep continue asking questions, universe, and receiving step by step, and uh, done. I have listened a lot of different Russian scientists who believe in the sound of vibration of healing, and they are scientists. They're not nothing to do with
Yes,
medium, absolutely
right,
nothing. They are
right.
scientists as they could come. One of him, uh, it probably will not going to make any sense to you right now, but uh, he's big in the community of science. However, so meditation, different practices, ether, healing, because got into the menopause and all of a sudden I started experiencing things. So I focused on myself, and that way, when I gonna heal myself, that I would always, I always did somehow empower women in anything I've done, but I wanted to do it more.
So beautiful. Well, we're so glad you're here. Welcome to the
Thank you.
community,
Thank
and
you.
look forward to getting to know you better. And Deborah, how about you? Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Deborah Cherrick. I'm in Delray Beach, Florida. So I've been here about 7, 8 years now. I'm new to the I mean, I've always been interested in the modalities and all of the tarot and numerology, and dabbled in it a little bit, but I really didn't get into it until last year. I started going into astrology, and I've always been, it felt very natural, like it was a natural path to go. As far as my life in the past, it's been accounting, administration, videography, healthcare, just a slew of everything. And now it's going more metaphysical. It's learning about thyself and really going within.
Beautiful. Well, so glad that you're here, because this High Vibe Mastery program is all about tapping into that, right? And checking in with yourself every day, and seeing where it takes you, right? So super excited that you're here to learn more about it. Hattie, what would you like to share with us today about our program?
Well, one of the early on things that happens in the program is you will download a sheet that looks like this. And in the sheet, and to get the full number, the vibe is to visualize a wish fulfilled. to imagine a hope being realized, to believe a dream is coming true. And then there's a place for a secret wish, because I just made it up that I made
Because
it
we
up because-
can when we create our own program.
because
We
we
get
can,
to
and
make it up.
because I have a couple secret wishes that I sort of like, I wouldn't want to be in a group setting being put on the, on the spot to have to talk about. I might, just keep it to myself. So I decided maybe other people have some of the same tendency. And so the thing that I thought we might do tonight is just, and on the opening session, at least in December, in the opening session, Nanette took us on a wonderful guided meditation of where we got our wish and we got our hope. When I created this sheet, I was put a wishbone on it. And so that, just think that if you had, close your eyes and think that if you had a wishbone in your hand and you go, the wish that I want to come true in the soonest time, because a wishbone cracks and you get a shorter side and a faster side.
Yep.
So think if you had a wishbone and you cracked it open and you looked at the short side, and can you visualize yourself having a wish come true? And so, and maybe you can, and maybe you can't. Maybe it's blurry.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
This is not there's no right, wrong way to do it. This is just for kicks right now to introduce the topic. Now, the next one we have is the
And
hope.
so if you captured something in your mind, just make a note of it somewhere. Hopefully you have a pencil or a piece of paper close by, or just make a mental note.
And make a note of it, and you might even put a 4-leaf clover next to it to give yourself a little piece of luck for that wish to come true. And then now imagine, and we're gonna look at that hope chest that's there, and that you're gonna open up the hope chest, and in the hope chest is a screen. And on that screen, you see yourself having this hope fulfilled. What would it feel like? What would it look like? Is it a color? Think of a hope. And open the hope chest, close your eyes, open the hope chest, look at the screen. What does that look like in the hope chest? And then you can close the hope chest down. And the hope chest is purple. Purple is really high in the color wheel. Purple is one of the higher energy sources. So you might surround whatever you thought about as in your hope chest. And now we have a great dream catcher. And so do you know the story of dream catchers? Dream catchers are to catch the good dreams and keep that which needs to be kept away from it. And so close your eyes again, ground your feet. Imagine yourself in a dream. Imagine yourself lying in bed. The dream catcher is above your head. And your angels are going to deliver you a dream to get caught in your dream catcher. What is it your angels would deliver to you? And visualize that in the sky. Your angels take it back to a cloud. And there's a screen on this cloud, and you see your dream fulfilled. And let's come back to the group. If you have any notes you want to take. That actually for me was, I have found in this process that I came up with 3 different things than what I did
Yes, me
the
too.
last time I did it.
Me too.
Um, and sometimes I think, well, what is your problem? How come you can't focus? Will it? There's no prescription. I mean, this is really a chance to explore, it's like a gift to yourself. I view, when we wrote the promotional material, I wrote the investment in yourself. And
Yes.
so we invite you to, and that was just very, quick and dirty.
Yeah. And I really want to acknowledge you, Hattie, for leading us through a simple, quick exercise that opens up possibility, right? That's the whole idea, is that through the 12 days of our program, you'll be playing with the possibilities. And I want to encourage all of you to not second guess what might have come up as your first thought, right? There is no right or wrong here. And there's all of these, like Hattie was sharing, she came up with something new. I was very surprised by what came up for me. And the beauty of that is that we get to play with those possibilities. We get to just experience what that feels like, to acknowledge that somewhere in our subconscious, we have these wishes, we have these hopes, we have these dreams. And part of what I've come to know is that when we allow those things to come forward and we give them attention, we start to live our lives in a way that's congruent with the possibility that those things could be our truth. And that's how we step in the direction of having a more fulfilled and joyful life, right? Is that we see these things, we don't discount them, we don't question them, and we say, oh, wow, isn't that exciting? There's the possibility that this is something that I could step forward to activate. And wouldn't that be exciting, whatever that looks like, right? So thank you, Hattie, for that. And I love that, yes, I can lead us on a 10-minute meditative journey, and Hattie can lead us through this very quick exercise that just as easily brought me to a place of really being delighted by the possibility that there's something in my hope chest, there's something my dream catcher is receiving, and something in my imagination that, yeah, very cool. Thank you, Hattie.
So any questions about, I thought one of the things that Nanette and I both think is really important, and sometimes it just doesn't work that way, but is to be respectful of time. So we said 7:30 to 8:30, and I I must say, when I sit in meetings, when people say they're going to end at a certain time and they go on and they go on, and I just, it irritates the daylights out of me. So I certainly don't like to turn around and then not practice what I know.
Let's check in really quickly. So relative to the components of the program that starts March 19th, we're going to start in the evening with a 1-hour session that's an intro. And then we meet every day from the 20th until the day before Easter, that's Saturday. We'll be on Zoom from 8:30 to 9-ish. Doing a check-in, and there is an online portal where you get access to the downloadable workbook, where you have daily lessons. The sessions that we do are recorded every day, so if you miss one, you'll be able to get a recording. So does anybody have any questions about the logistics?
A little bit more on the logistics. There's included in the program is a half an hour session with Nanette.
Yes.
Nanette, who is a creativity life coach, so that there's a defined, you get, like, if stuff comes up, you've got
Yes.
someone one-on-one to process. And part of Jill's program is aura imaging, and we do a surrogate aura image for everyone in the program that is separate and apart. We will arrange a time for that. And by surrogate, what I mean is, as metaphysicians, we believe that there is no time and space, so that in the energy field. So I ask your higher self if it's okay if I channel your energy on the aura machine. So we do my aura, and then I ask your higher self if it's okay if I'm a channel for you, and if what I get is sufficiently different, I get that your higher self has given me permission to look at your energy field, and that I have enough experience with it now to know
That it works.
Yeah, information be
Yeah.
gleaned from a surrogate aura.
Yeah. So the bonuses are a half an hour with me, an aura session with Hattie, and what else, Hattie? Is that it?
Cards are mailed to you.
Oh, and the cards, right? Absolutely. So anybody have any questions about the logistics of the program?
Yeah, I'm still a little bit blur. I don't know. Even though I understand that there is a meeting, there is a certain inspiration, there is a certain lessons every day would be
Yep.
there. But I'm sure all of us have a different level of understanding what do we even want out of this, or it's not the question. Does it even is that gonna move us? I'm not doubting that what you're doing is amazing. I'm not doubting it. Just how will I know that this is what I need at that moment? This is what I need. Like many times people told me that in my past, because my ancestors are from Siberia, and there's healers.
Yes.
Okay, my ancestry. So a lot of time people who really strong in metaphysics, they keep telling me that I'm supposed to go there, that I am supposed to go there. Well, I'm an astronomer, and I am. I have a telescope. I watched
Yeah.
the sky since I was a little girl, and always to the Big Dip and Polar Star and things like
Yes.
that. Well, I don't know if I stated question correct.
So let me speak to that, what I think I hear, which is you're asking, um, will this serve me now? Is this,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
will this serve me
Well,
now?
they tap me at least. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
tap enough
So,
that it will stir me somewhere.
yes. The intention of this program is to provide you an opportunity to be in practice with checking in with your own desires on a regular basis. So we are not going to be guiding you, if you will, right?
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Now, if you have a half an hour session with me, and when you work with Hattie with you or your aura, you will get some personal feedback and some personal coaching. But during our regular process, what we're doing is sharing with you the tools and inviting you to commit to checking in with yourself for 12 days so that you can be in practice with getting clear about what it is that you want. So, and what we've seen happen with people who participated was that they came with a question, right? They came with a question. One woman came with either a question or a yearning, I think is probably, Hattie, would you agree that those were kind of the two things? And one woman came with a yearning to express herself differently in her career. And by the time the 12 days were over, she was very clear how it was that she was going to start messaging to her audience about the ways that she would be serving that had a different nuance than when she started. She also was somebody who, she and her husband together had a desire to create a new environment for them to live in. And they had been talking about it, but not really focused on it. And by the time the 12 days were over, they had created an opportunity to contract on a new home. And so I choose to believe that it was because they got together, made the commitment to each other and to their vision, and they actively worked on making this happen, right? Over the 12 days that we were together. Now, Hattie and I didn't say to her, look, we think you should be working on your career and we think you should be working on your house, right? That's not how this works. The intention is for you to come with your own sense of, and for a lot of people, they came with a sense of, I'm not really clear. I'm feeling, scattered. I'm getting messaging that I maybe should be doing this. Maybe I should be doing that. And by engaging in a practice of checking in with yourself, we introduce journaling, we introduce mandalas, we introduce using the cards, we introduce dream catchers, we introduce, I don't know, Hattie, you can, what else? I mean, we have 12 days of a workbook full of all kinds of things that we introduce that are ways that you can activate your intention to create your life. And so that's that's what we hope to create the container for, is that you come away from the 12-day experience knowing that you have the power to create whatever it is you choose, and that you have the ability to check in with yourself and to know that you have an inner wisdom that is there and active and available to you. My belief is that many of us grow up in an environment where that messaging gets very muddy because we are listening to everybody else And we've not been taught that it's okay to pause and to listen to ourselves, right? We've been taught that we should be listening to everything that's outside of ourselves.
We're preconditioned and programmed.
Yes. Yes. And my belief is it might be generational. It may not
Yeah.
be just your
Yeah.
behavior. It's
Yeah.
inherited. As you
Of
say,
course. Yeah.
Svetlana, that you come from you come from a land of metaphysical healers. So my belief is, and everybody gets to have their own, but my belief is that we carry that, right? It's been passed to us. And so we have a lot to unpack and unravel. And so part of what happens over the 12 days is we get to challenge ourselves and some of our limiting beliefs. And again, we're not going to reinvent the world in 12 days, and we are going to invite you to adopt some practices and to recognize that the practice is important because it keeps us focused, keeps our attention on the things that matter, so we don't get distracted, because we live in a super noisy world, right? So I hope that answered the question a little bit.
Yeah, just a tiny little bit. I know we don't want to continue too long. The tools that we're going to be using, you said the journal, the mandala, the dream, like imagination, the cards. So it will be us practice and meditation.
Yes, a little bit. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Because I'm familiar also with all of that. I've done basically
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
in that, because I'm also an artist, and I'm a
Yes.
fine jewelry.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
for a lot of people, these tools aren't new, right? For a lot of us, the tools aren't new. The idea is that we're being reminded to use them, right? And we're giving attention to this particular time, and Hattie can speak to that. This astrological time is significant, right? That with the eclipses coming up and with the spring equinox, that this is a great time to give special attention to the things that you would like to bring forward in your life. So, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. How do you want to speak to that just a little bit? I love to, well, actually, it's coming out on Friday, I guess, her article about March and the astrology and the eclipse and.
No, I just corroborate that one of the things being is that when we started this and did the December, it was like a one-off. And now this is at all the solstices, the 2 solstices and the 2 equinoxes. So if you're thinking, well, I know all of this sort of stuff before, I do think that I mean, we haven't put our heads together and consciously got a curriculum that looks at how you go deeper, but just the fact that we are planning to do this over and over again this year, I think, I mean, both of us are pretty highly practiced in our particular skills, and so depth work is something we enjoy doing with people.
Yes.
And the fact that now we're talking about getting a group of people that may bring in new people, but we do see it is going to be a deepening process because of having the multiple events over the year.
Yeah. And we learn and grow as we go, right? And as we learn and grow, we will be sharing those things with the group. So I am a complete believer in the co-creative collaborative process, that every time we come together today, you know, every time we come together, we have a new experience that brings new awareness, that enables us to share in a different way and to heighten the experience for everyone. So yeah, super excited about that. Any other questions?
You said you're going to be your second year because you started in 2023?
Yeah, so we
Like it was
ran
a whole year of
we ran one cycle in December of 2023. We had 18 people who registered. I'd say we had anywhere between 6 and 10 people on every call for the 12 days. And yeah, and so our plan is to run it for the 4 quarters of the year on the 4 seasonal changes through 2024, and we'll see where it takes us from there. Everyone who registers for this group will have free access to the next ones through the year. We'd really like we'd like that continuity to carry forward. And it's my belief that no matter how experienced we are with particular tools, you know, I've been facilitating the Artist's Way and doing morning pages for years and years and years, and I still facilitate the Artist's Way twice a year because it reminds me to really give attention to my own personal practice, right? And so and I believe that it is absolutely necessary for us to give attention to our personal intentions in order to live into our best life every single day. Otherwise, we forget, we get distracted by all the noise that there is out there. And yeah, and so that's why we've created this and why we decided we would do it again and again and again, because there's value in it for everyone who chooses to participate. So, yeah.
Well, let's close with hand over heart.
Yes, yes, yes. And thank you all for coming, raising your questions, being here in presence, sharing your introduction. So excited to get to know all of you. And yeah.
Love and light to everyone.
Absolutely. And feel free to reach out to either of us if anything comes up after this. You can join us next week too. We'll be doing this again on the 13th if you have another question coming forward. And feel free to invite a friend. Right. Okay. Thank you.
Nice to meet you, everybody. Have a good night.
Namaste.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Lisa, if you want to stay on, we'll chat a little.
Turn off your recording, Hattie, if you do that.
Yes, I will. Stop.